Radio.ca and paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Hi, I'm Timmy.
And I'm Mary Jane. He's the newbie.
She's the doobie, and this is the show
where we
tote
cannabis.
Talk.
From both sides.
Is that even possible?
This podcast is for adults only, should not be used as a meal replacement, and may contain nuts.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Noobie and The Doobie. My name is Boyle. Timmy Boyle. The newbie.
Ginger Snaps. Filling in for the doobie.
Hello, Ginger.
Hello, Boyle. I'm a little confused.
Why?
Because I thought it was Chick Spy Day.
No, it's Chic Spy Day.
Oh.
Wait, I can make it Chick Spy Day.
I never understood the word of chic. It was like kind of like chic.
Okay, well, hold on.
What is chic? Chic.
That's me.
Are you gonna make it a Chick Spy Day? Okay. I'm interested to see where this is going. Nope, a little lower. There you go.
Milano. Alyssa Milano. Welcome to Chick Spy Day. Dun, dun, dun.
That's awesome.
How's that? Is that better?
That's awesome.
I don't think
it's kind of creepy. I think you should take it off, though.
I could literally, though, I could walk in like undercover and everyone would be like, oh, don't worry about it. It's just Alyssa Milano. Like, this is like seamless.
No, because they would know Alyssa Milano would have her mask on.
Oh, but what if Alyssa Milano was wearing a mask of me wearing a mask of her?
No, I meant like a mask.
Oh, I think if you're a spy, I don't think you worry about masks. You're literally, you probably have a pill in your pocket that you're gonna take to kill yourself the moment somebody discovers you. I think the least of your worries of a spy is that you're gonna get a respiratory disease from COVID.
I would make a horrible spy because I'm not taking any pill to kill myself.
That's a good plan. Spying would be very difficult, by the way. It is Spy Day here. It's Chic Chick Spy Day. And welcome Ginger Snaps to Spy Day.
Thank you.
What else do we have coming up on the show before we get into spy stuff and cannabis stuff?
We have our high five.
And we have a word of the week.
Yeah, and then we're going to see Tim and Janice again.
Tim and Janice are joining us. And as well, there's a What Gets Me Going.
Well, what gets me going?
Yeah, I'm always very excited about that. Once again, folks, if you haven't been paying attention and playing the home game of the Noobie and the Doobie, which we should create. I mean, even what Duran had, a board game. We should have a board game. Do you remember when
we should have a fun game?
We should have a fun game. Oh, not as opposed to a board game?
Exactly.
Oh, my goodness, the puns are flying. This Ginger Snaps is on the ball.
Snap.
It looks very, very Daphne from Scooby-Doo.
I thought about that too, and I got the knee-high boots too.
Right?
It's very like era-ish.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like it a lot.
Thank you.
What is that? That's from a movie, right?
It is.
I like it.
Do you know the actor?
I like it. I like it a lot.
Do you know the actor?
No, it sounds like a Jim Carrey line.
Yes, it is. Can you think of the movie?
I'm going to say Dumb and Dumber.
Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
High five. It's a little early for the high five list, but we'll get it in another one in there now.
You
look very good.
Thank you. As do you, Boyle.
Timmy Boyle.
Timmy Boyle.
You
didn't give me long enough.
No, you change. It does change though. Like some people say, like putting on sunglasses and a hat, that can't do a whole lot, but it can. Like if you walk down, like say not here because where we're recording, no one knows who we are yet. But if you were walking around where you live, by putting on a different color wig, I think you would be I think you would be initially unrecognizable.
My daughter seen me from behind in this wig as I was like trying on outfits, and she's like, Mom?
Right?
And I turned around and she's like, did you dye your hair? And I'm like, no. I'm like, this is like a really cheap wig. How could you think this was my hair? Maybe that says something. I need to go see a salon or something. But yeah, she didn't think I was me.
It does.
And we were at home.
It does not take a lot to change your appearance. And we've been actually, not even for prep for this show, just because we watch strange and interesting things on TV once in a while.
We do.
But we were watching a spy thing.
Yeah.
And like a lot of it is not done kind of in the quiet room with the earpieces in, like you say. These are people who physically walk into other environments and become other people for a time to try to seduce and we did find out too, it's not just women who are seducing men to get information. There are men.
Like that man with the secretary.
Yeah.
Yes.
He went in and he seduced a secretary who knew all the information and ended up getting the information from her. So it's from both sides. And
who would think just like the gatekeeper? Well, that's what I call the secretaries.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely the gatekeeper. I used to, I still do, I book a lot of shows in churches because they're invested in their communities. They need it to be clean comedy. And full well, I don't know how many pastors and gatekeepers right now are, well, maybe a lot of them are secretly watching the show. You say
gatekeepers. That's the person that answers the phone. Like, that's the main...
Yes.
The secretary.
But you understand, yes, that secretary...
Yeah.
If you do not sell your idea, concept, the fact that get her excited about the comedy show, that message is never getting into the hands of the pastor.
I know, because I'm terrified of the gatekeepers. I call all the time, and I'm a sweet, lovable person who would not want to talk to me. But it was like as soon as I started talking, they were like, oh, what is she selling us? I'm not selling you anything.
It's hard.
I'm trying to give you something free. Come and see a cool comedy show. And they're like, well, maybe I'll pass it along to the pastor. And then like you give me an email address that I don't even know if it goes anywhere. Now, and I just want to say it's not just churches.
Right. I was going to say that too. There's gatekeepers everywhere. But that's why when we were watching that show, it was so fascinating that they sent in a male spy to build this second life and get in close with the secretary, because he knew that the secretary she was in all the meetings. She took all the notes.
She sends all the correspondence.
She knew everything that was going on.
Yeah.
Pick your secretary wisely. Yeah. And if you're a secretary, pick your person that's coming after you wisely. There might be male secretaries.
You could just become partners with your secretary, and then that way they're not going to cheat on you with somebody else, right? Or I guess that kind of like goes against the employer-employee relationship.
Yeah, I don't know. But listen, if you're in a job where there's likelihood that people are going to want to send a spy to get your information, do you really care about the rules at that point? Chances are there's a lot of stuff going on in your organization.
Do we even use spies nowadays with all the technology? Like they literally can pinpoint you from a satellite from the sky and find out what you're saying. They're listening in right now.
We still do. It is still the most prevalent way of getting information, because relationships, because documents can be shredded and things
it's true, and every country is still doing it.
Human beings will still connect, and now that we know that it's men and women, I think, if this podcast thing doesn't work, if comedy falls to the side or whatever, we're just looking for a side gig. Let us officially...
Think Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah, let's just officially put out there right now, look, we don't know how to use guns. We don't, but we can learn. We're teachable people, and we look awesome.
Well, I know how to use a paint gun.
Right? Well, as long as you know how to use a paint gun. But we're
same thing.
We're lovable, engaged human beings. People would fall in love with us. We would be your perfect spy candidate. If you're looking for somebody to do that, we maybe we'll enter the spy business.
I feel like I need to clarify. We are not actually engaged. We are engaging.
Right. Oh, good point. Good pick
Yes.
up there. We just didn't
Because I said Mr. and Mrs. Smith,
right.
and then you said engaged. I just don't want anybody reading into anything.
Welcome to Chick Spy Day. What a weird beginning. The question is it even us? Dun,
Ooh.
dun, dun.
Ginger?
Ginger? You call me Ginger?
No, I'm Ginger.
Right. But are you Ginger?
That's what I just... Okay.
High
High five.
The beautiful thing about the spy business, I left you hanging.
I know,
The
like a
beautiful
crane.
thing about the spy business is that you don't know what's going on. Like, nothing that is happening on this show might be real.
The show might not even be real. We might be living in an alternate universe.
We
And
might-
as soon as you take off your headset, we're gone.
Could you imagine right now? So right now, let's just play a short a game here. Let's pretend that let's just say our producer is like going, just living his life, and for years we have been building up these personas.
Mm-hmm.
I've been getting into comedy.
Okay.
You've been getting into cannabis world, so that 10 years later we would be able to get into the podcast studio and start a podcast just so we could get close to get information from our producer. Could you imagine like the long game play and something like that? Like if we were like raised up to be like in that movie Black Widow, she was like raised from youth to become like a spy assassin, and you have to like play that thing. Wow, that would be so cool if like our personas aren't even who we are.
That's crazy.
But then I just blew it wide open on. I didn't. We
It's like,
are
as a
who we are.
spy, we're not allowed to talk about
Yeah,
that.
that's so true. That's so true. But could you imagine, like that's acting? People say, how do you go on stage and talk for 2 hours? That's easy. How do you go into a community and for like 5 years pretend you're someone else to gain trust? That's Oscar-winning performances there. Now,
That's a
mind you,
different type of training.
if you don't perform well in that, you're dead. So there
That's
is
true.
some pressure attached to it. But what a
Sir,
cool
these
job!
Boots are heavy.
Those boots are not made for walking. Let's do our word of the week and our high five list.
Okay. Are you doing high five first?
Yeah, let's do high five first.
Okay.
Let's do high five first
High
because
five.
we're right on this thing. Before we get to your word of the week, so in regards to spies.
Yes.
Okay, our high five, I was looking a lot into spies because I was fascinated by them. James Bond has always been fascinating to me. I think Mr. and Mrs. Smith were less spies and more assassins.
Okay.
There's probably a difference, but maybe not. No, because they're trained to fight too. But I found some really interesting spy things. So today's high five list is 5 really interesting spy facts that I found. There are probably way more, and if you know any more, feel free to put them in comments and send us messages. But these are 5 that I found that were very interesting.
Okay.
Okay, you ready for this? In World War II, cameras were attached to homing pigeons.
I did hear about this.
So we're like using drones, and people back then were going, why don't you just attach a camera to a pigeon? Think how much
How
cheaper
else
that
are you
is.
going to get it up in the sky other than putting it on an airplane or a
Right.
helicopter? That's detectable.
Yeah,
It's brilliant.
I know, and much cheaper. Why are we spending all this money on drones? There's pigeons. Go to New York, pigeons everywhere.
You can't. They're a lot harder to train.
Are they?
They are. I actually knew a pigeon trainer.
You didn't.
I
There's real
legitimately
pigeon
did.
trainers. Well, I guess
Yes.
there would have to be for training them
He
to
lives
be spies.
and owns the store in Parham, Ontario, or
That's not a real place.
Parham, depending on how you pronounce it.
I pronounce it Parham.
It's where Highway 38 does this dippy-doo thing and heads up to Kingston.
Oh yeah, right at the dippy do.
Yeah.
I know that.
Right at
Really?
the
He
train
trains
tracks.
Pigeons?
Yeah.
Did he ever train them to be spies?
He would get them to do circles and tricks, and they would come
Okay.
yeah, it was cool.
I bet you it'd be cheaper to do that than to invest in drones. Anyways, Okay, but animals, okay, animals were often used. I like this one. So they're not sure about this. They call this one a legend, but it was from the Napoleonic Wars. Okay, so back when Napoleon, right? So the French,
Like the ice cream?
what's that?
Like the ice cream? Oh, that's Neapolitan.
No, that's Neapolitan.
Okay.
Sometimes you're so quick with your answer on this weird kind of pun thing that it throws my mind for a loop. I'm like, what?
I like that you think I'm like smart with this pun
Yeah,
thing,
you
but
are.
I'm just questioning.
So a French ship runs aground, okay? In England.
Okay.
Okay, back then. So back then, the English and the French, well, as they still do today, they bicker now, but back then it was a little more violent, okay? So the sole survivor was a monkey wearing a French soldier's uniform. Okay, number one, you got to question why the French were dressing the monkeys up in their uniforms. That's a whole, or whether he dressed himself. There's a whole lot of stuff going on there.
Okay.
But what is your
Maybe
angle?
I feel like the monkey knew that the ship was going down, and he grabbed a uniform and was like, "If I look like one of them,
yeah, but
they'll save me." But he wasn't smart enough to know that the other guys on the other side were English.
That's right?
They wouldn't like a French monkey.
He was smart enough.
Did he understand English?
Right? He was smart enough to dress up himself, but not smart enough to know where he was landing. So here's what happened, though. Very sad, though.
They didn't hurt the monkey, did they?
The residents of the place that it landed captured the monkey, then tried him for espionage. So put him in court.
Are you serious?
It says legend, but I got a feeling this is true.
Oh my God.
And then they hanged him. They hanged the monkey as a spy. Now, look, that's sad. I don't want
all you other French monkeys, don't ever come to England and run your boat on our beach.
Look, I am okay. Look, war is war. Okay, I'm okay with capturing the monkey. Okay.
Yeah, make it do tricks in your circus. Let it live.
But
That's
to put
still
him in
cruel.
court. So they say, "Tell us, what secrets do you have, monkey?" I don't know what's
What
worse.
do you plead?
Like it's amazing anybody won that battle. The French dressed their monkeys up in their uniforms, and the English sat there and said, "We're going to try this monkey in our court."
So terrible.
Right? Okay. So true or not, I think it's very funny and deserved to be on this list. Okay, this one. Okay, check this one out. 1917. A lot of these ones are older ones because the spies have gotten so much better. Germans built a 25-foot tall armor-plated fake tree. Okay.
Okay.
So it was like a Trojan tree, the Trojan horse.
Yes.
Okay. They make this big 25-foot fake tree, stationed it with a soldier in it for months. Okay. So a guy lived in this tree for months.
I was going to say, because people wouldn't notice a 25-foot tree just pop up out of nowhere. So they put it there and they left it there for months.
Listen, to sneak the tree into place. Okay, there's a plan to this. You don't just march in a 25. See, you could have planned this too. They had to cut down and replace the real tree while the artillery was firing. So anytime there was so they were in their gunfights, they would continue cutting down this big tree and then replace it with the other tree.
That sounds like they might have actually started some of the gunfire just to cover up.
Right, exactly. Yeah, cover me.
Cover me,
right?
exactly.
So then they cut down this tree. Okay. They did not notice that it wasn't a real tree for 7 months. 7 months.
An armor-plated 25-foot hollow tree with a man.
So once again,
inside.
just like we did with the French, who was weirder, the French who dressed up their monkeys or the English who tried a monkey?
Is it the German who hid
right?
in the tree for 7 months?
Or the Allies? These are the Germans that made that tree, or the Allies who said we don't even notice a tree is there.
They couldn't have been allies.
Yeah, there was the Germans versus the Allies.
Versus, you mean like the rest of the world's allies, or
it was back
Britain's allies?
Like the Allies, Axis and Allies. No.
No, they didn't teach us that. Other than Hitler had a mustache.
Okay, well that's a fact as well. Okay, so now let's move on. Number two. In the 1960s, the CIA spent $20 million on on a project called Acoustic Kitty. So now we're bringing the Americans into this now.
Okay. What year was this story?
1960s.
Okay.
A microphone and a radio transmitter was implanted into a cat. Okay, and they were going to send the cat in. Now, a cat would be able to free roamly, right? And nobody would even think about it. Seems like a brilliant plan. $20 million invested into this plan. The Acoustic Kitty, okay?
I feel like this cat's going to get hit by a car or like eaten by a dog or...
It got hit by a taxi almost immediately. So it was released on its first mission and a taxi ran it over. $20 million.
That's funny. Why did the cat cross the road? To waste government money?
To waste government money.
Nice try. It was a good shot.
So what we're seeing here is that everybody has bad ideas.
Yeah.
Everyone has bad ideas. And the other
Except
side...
for the ticks. Who let those ticks out with the Lyme disease?
Oh,
I think
know.
that
was that a war thing too? I don't know.
It's one of those conspiracies.
Okay, now here is... there was a spy for the British government.
Okay.
He was to seduce powerful U.S. women in order to gather intelligence. That
nice
man's
job.
name was Mr. Roald Dahl.
No.
Is it Ronald? That's Ronald Dahl.
It's Ronald.
Oh, that was a typo.
I was like, wait a
Typo.
minute. Ronald
But you know the
Dahl
guy.
is a children's author.
British spy.
No.
Yeah.
No, you can't be a spy and admit it and still be alive.
He wrote The Fantastic Mr. Fox. He wrote James and the Giant Peach. He wrote Matilda. He wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And he wrote The Witches, which you're very apparently excited about. Apparently some movies coming out.
You know what's crazy
He
about
was a British spy.
They were all of those are amazing stories.
Yeah.
And I think they're all good movies too. They've all been made movies of, haven't they?
I've seen 2 of them.
Which ones?
Charlie and Chocolate Factory and Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Oh. Which Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? I guess you said Charlie and
the
not
original
Willy
one.
Wonka.
Yeah, I saw the one with Gene Wilder.
Okay. But not with Johnny Depp.
No, that one looked weird to me.
I know. I can tell by that look on your
Wait.
face. We need to see
Now
it.
you made me get all like weird.
You lost your page?
Well, no. No, his name's not Robert. Wait.
Ronald.
No. Roald Dahl.
Or are you confused? Or are they 2 different people? Kind of
No.
like Joey ILO and Joey Aiello.
I don't know. Now I'm confused. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. As we do on this show, sometimes we tell you true things, sometimes we don't. Unless it comes to cannabis.
What kind of a
and that's
spy
true.
would we be if we told you 100% of the truth?
Oh my goodness.
You couldn't handle the truth.
Wait. Okay. Now I messed up because I was pretty sure that that's what I read. This guy is the master of disguise. He literally
That'd be
has
like
thrown me
finding
off
out
of my
Dr.
train.
Seuss was like...
All right. Well, okay. Well, how about this then? How about this? Wait till my high 5 list.
Okay.
And if you think this possibly is blowing your mind,
Okay.
wait till my high 5 list.
But this is your high 5 list.
All right. This is my
We got to
high 5
finish
list.
number 1. This is number 1.
Oh, this is my high 5 list. That was number
And you
1.
didn't consume. You didn't even
No.
say anything about him other than his name.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. Timmy's number 1 is
No.
Ronald Dahl.
Or a Roald, depending. Now I'm like, it's Roald. It's not Ronald.
Oh, it's... Oh, my God. Is this one of those Berenstein
You always thought his
thing?
name was Ronald. But it's not. It's Roald. Roald. Okay.
I've got books at home. I'm going home.
There's nothing worse than trying to figure out information.
It's the Mandela effect.
While we're talking about it. Right
What
during
is
the
it?
show.
It's the Mandela effect. Somebody tell me. Ronald or Roald, whatever. Anyways, this guy.
He was a spy. But okay, the reason why I got all excited about saying wait till you hear my high 5 list
Okay.
was because I didn't tell you something prior to my high 5 list. And that's what made me go, what?
Oh, but you did.
Do your word of the week, and then I'll tell you what I was going to tell you.
So we'll get back to number 1?
No, that was number 1. That was number 1. That Roald or Robert Dahl, one or the
Okay.
other, wrote all those books, but was also a British spy.
Oh,
Slept
okay,
with
okay.
a bunch of women.
Clearly,
get
I'm the one that
information.
consumed prior to the show.
So that was number 1.
Okay.
But I'm telling you that the mind-blowing fact that I wanted to talk about It had nothing to do with my high five list, but I never told it prior to my high five.
Oh no, I don't have my thing for my word of the week.
What thing?
I had a device.
Oh, what do you need?
Can I go get it?
Yeah, you go get it. Can
Okay.
Can I tell my story to the camera?
Yes.
Okay.
Just let me cut
All right.
across you first.
All right. So as Ginger Snaps is heading off here to get something for her word of the week, let me just say this. This is the thing I found interesting. Now, we are broadcasting currently from Canada, worldwide, internationally. This information is going out. But we are in Canada. And did you know that Canada was the home of a very famous spy school? Did you know that, Ginger?
I did not know that.
Camp X, very famous spy school. Do you know where it was located?
I want to say Ottawa.
Whitby.
What?
Whitby, Ontario.
Whitby.
True story. Whitby, Ontario was the home of Camp X. 1941 to 1944, this place was in place. Winston Churchill had asked a spy master, his name, and this is his real name, not Roald Dahl. His name was William Stevenson. He was from Winnipeg, Manitoba. He was a spy master. His code name was Intrepid, which means fearless.
Okay.
And Churchill asked him to set up a spy school in Canada, to put a base one in Canada. In the Whitby area back then, it had swampland, it had hills, it had flats. It was a perfect place to put it. It was a top secret spy training facility in Whitby, Ontario, not too far from where we are recording this podcast right now. Okay. Now, it was there for spy training and for communications. Okay.
Okay.
So all the records were destroyed afterwards. This place is still super thing. It was a make or break place for agents, though. Like, this was a serious place. They had a 27 meter, which is what, almost a 90-foot jump tower. That's where they taught parachuting. They would make their men crawl through trenches while firing real bullets over them.
Wow.
No CGI. They would have them stand behind bulletproof glass and fire machine guns at them to try to make sure they were able to not flinch. They taught them how to make themselves look different, how to use all these weapons, and then if they passed that, only then would they get sent off to some of the other, so they would station them in those schools around the world. But this was we want to see if you have what it takes.
It's like the boot camp, the training camp in the beginning.
This is where we will break you. If you get out of this camp, then you have a chance of surviving being a spy. Okay? Canadians, Americans, British, Italian, Chinese, Yugoslavian, Hungarian, Romanian people were all involved in training here.
Wow.
Okay? One of the most famous, though, people who trained at this facility was a man named Ian Fleming. Ring a bell?
No.
Ian Fleming wrote 12 novels that were turned into movies called about a man named James Bond,
Well,
the master of all
heard of
spies.
him.
Yes. So the author of James Bond, of which he took much of his personal experience as he trained to become a spy in Canada, Whitby, Ontario, at Camp X. We helped create James freaking Bond. Oh, Canada.
It's nice to hear Churchill did something positive.
Well, you brought that all the way back to Churchill? There were so many more interesting facts in there other than that. I didn't even mention the fact...
You mentioned everything else. What am I going to mention?
I know. I didn't even mention the fact about the monkey, but we don't need to go there. We already talked about a monkey once.
Yes, we have.
They loved monkeys in the spy world. What's your word of the week? Please tell me it's monkey.
It's not.
Ah.
It's not.
Ah.
My word of the week is one hitter,
One hitter.
which is also called a bat or a chillum.
Now, just so you know, in baseball, a one-hitter is like an amazing feat. Like, if you get a one-hitter, a no-hitter is like fantastic, but a one-hitter is pretty impressive.
Okay.
Is a one-hitter impressive in the cannabis world?
It would be in the spy world.
Okay.
Because-
Explain.
Because it only takes one shot to hit him. I'm a one hitter.
I'm a one-hitter. That's an assassination move right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody wants an assassin.
That's
a
my
three-hitter.
nickname.
You're the one
The
hitter.
one hitter. But so the one hitter is a small pipe.
Okay.
Can you guess why they call it a one hitter?
You literally smoke it once and it's done.
Exactly. It's a very, very small amount of cannabis. It's a very small bowl. It's made from all different kinds of materials, metal, glass. It's generally in a long shape. Some of them look like cigarettes, which is why I was like, I gotta get up. I gotta go get I have a Trailer Park Boy device. So this is a one hitter.
Okay.
Can be sold on its own or part of a set. This here, just like in baseball, you got your bat and you got your dugout. The reason why they call it a dugout is because there's a little storage container on one side for your dried flour, one on the other side with
your one hitter,
a little spring, so that way it pops up.
Yeah.
Got your one hitter. You put your flour in the other side. You then take your one hitter, tap it in, which packs the cannabis into this little tiny bowl right
hold
here.
on. Let me see. This has already fooled me because I was looking at the going, that's pretty long. So, like, how could that be a one? Oh, my goodness.
So inside the tip, there's just a very little tiny bowl.
This is perfect for Spy Day. Man, you are thinking.
Stealthy, discreet smoking. So if you're out somewhere, you just it looks like you're lighting a smoke. And before people even know that it smells like cannabis, you've already tucked it back away in your little case.
Mind blown.
Right? And it's another great way to microdose. So if you're new to cannabis and you're not a great roller and you would just like a quick hit that's not harsh, a one hitter would be the way to go. However, I will say the only thing that I don't like about one hitters is most of the time there's no screen. So you can purchase screen yourself. Don't go to the hardware store. Go to the cannabis.
What do you need a screen for?
So the screen prevents the cannabis from going into the back of your throat when you're lighting it, because it'll turn into ash, and then so the screen just stops the ashes from going in your mouth.
So it's a one puff and you're done.
Is one puff and you're done.
That's so deceiving. Because originally I thought, I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense. It's basically you're just carrying a single joint with you.
It goes to about there.
That's awesome.
So it's just that little, not even like the width of my finger is the pipe.
That is one of the best thematic crossovers that we have done.
I just want to point out the Trailer Park Boys.
We saw them live.
We did back in 2019.
I am a huge fan of live performances. Not only am I a live performer, but I enjoy theater and people who put together live shows.
And you were not really a Trailer Park Boy.
I knew them pop culture wise, so I knew who they were. They're Canadian, correct?
Yes, from the East Coast.
Yeah. So I knew a little bit about them. I knew that they were cannabis.
And I had seen everything Trailer Park Boys, down to like swearing at everything.
So you took me down to see them live at the Empire Theatre in Belleville, Ontario.
Yes.
It was their Christmas show. And
I didn't know what to expect either, because I didn't know what their Christmas show was going to be like.
I didn't either, but I can tell you this, Trailer Boys, because clearly they're
Trailer Park Boys.
Trailer Park Boys. You guys are definitely watching the show. I was blown away. That show was so quirky and weird and funny, so unique. I just thought it was an amazing, amazing show.
And see, I was thrown off by the way it was done. Like, it was a stage show, and we had good seats. Mm-hmm. Like Empire Theater, you didn't get to choose like where you were sitting. You just get a ticket and you sit where you sit, right? Mm-hmm. But they had, I think his name was Chipper. I think it was Chipper that was up there chasing them around.
With a camera?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a camera on there. I can't remember if it was Chipper or not. I'm pretty sure. Anyways. I love Chipper. Sorry, I got sidetracked. So he was following them around with the camera, and you could see it was like watching a television show while watching the stage show.
Yeah.
It was unique and entertaining because you get a different angle of Randy in the wheelbarrow. You know what I mean? On it was just awesome.
Well, they to me, that performance was something where, because we've talked about on this show before, that being a newbie and not really knowing or being involved in the cannabis space, mm-hmm. there's this sense of, I mean, it's a bunch of stoners. What can they create quality? That's a mindset that's out there. It's just like it's the lazy stoner mentality, right? Like there can't possibly be a really good, solid, creative force that comes. All you see, you picture growing up in the world that I pictured, people just sitting in front of, lying on their couch, half clothed,
pizza boxes,
playing video games all day long.
Yeah.
And what that show showed, though, was my goodness, the amount of time and energy and creativity and professionalism that went into that was mind-blowing, and I really, really enjoyed it. So Trailer Park Boys,
see, I just love
what it's
I
worth,
love
the
the
Noobie and Doobie enjoyed that show.
The characters that they create or that they've created. They were young when they created those characters, and those are tough characters to stick with. Like, I know maybe a little bit of it is based on who you truly are and whatever, but like Mike, for example, Bubbles, found his girlfriend found those glasses, or ex-girlfriend anyway, girlfriend at the time, found those glasses at a yard sale and thought it would be funny. And now Mike needs to wear glasses, like legit needs glasses, because of all of the wearing and filming of those other glasses, that it ruined his eyes. So, like, that takes dedication. I'm just saying, like, they've dedicated themselves to these characters, and it's not easy.
It is. It definitely isn't.
Yeah.
Anything more on the word of the week before we move on to
No.
what I'm really looking forward to?
Other than batter up.
Batter up.
Batter up.
So are we going to do What Gets Me Going then? Or no, before that.
We got to see Tim and Janice.
That's right. Thank you for reminding me.
Speaking of characters, they're awesome.
Speaking of characters, exactly. For those who've been watching the show, our friends Tim and Janice, TikTok famous.
Yeah, they're over how many million now? And
I don't know. They had a video that just went viral a little while ago.
I think they're rounding 20,000 followers or something like that.
Yeah, who knows what it's moving quick. By the time this thing airs, we have no idea what they could be at. But you can find them on TikTok at just type in Tim and Janice. But every once in a while they come on our show. We tell them the theme of the day, and then we let them go from there. So, ladies and gentlemen, Tim and Janice.
Hey, Tim. I think they see us.
Run, Janice! Well, sometimes Tim and Janice have something to say. Sometimes they don't. But I give them credit. They stuck to the theme.
They are fast.
They definitely stuck to the theme. All right, so check them out. TikTok, Tim and Janice.
Or hashtag
Team Blue and Yellow.
Yep.
So what gets you going, Ginger Snaps?
Well,
I love these.
This one's a good
one. Should I
one.
sit back on this one? Because these always are very
yeah,
exciting
okay,
for me.
so this one's a little bit of a story mixed with a little bit of word definitions, a little bit of dictionary play here.
Okay, all right, there's a lot going on.
It is. So today, October 5th, is commemorating the victims of Weed Prohibition Day.
Yes.
So that's what we are commemorating today. So October 5th, 1937. Take you back.
Okay.
Just after the U.S. Marijuana Tax Stamp Act was put into enactment that stated nobody could possess or sell cannabis, the FBI and the Denver police raided the Lexington Hotel, where they arrested the first two men for sale and possession of cannabis.
What year was that?
1937, October 5th.
Okay.
This is why we commemorate on this day.
Okay.
Now, I want to teach you what the word commemorating means. It says to recall or show respect for someone or something, or to celebrate an event, person, or situation by doing or building something. I understand the recall or show respect for someone or something. I would like to focus on that because I don't want to celebrate any part of anybody being arrested for simple possession and consumption or sale of cannabis. I would like to discuss all of those that are still in jail over small cannabis crimes. We'll say crimes is what they labeled crimes, convictions. So between the years 2008 and 2012, so it's a 4-year span, Canadian courts, just Canadian courts alone, seen approximately 59,000 adult cases and 14,000 youth cases, with almost half of them resulting in convictions.
Okay.
Which that's a large number in a 4-year span. Today, we have an estimated 500,000 Canadians that have a criminal record, like a criminal conviction, just for cannabis. A conviction of cannabis could affect your ability to travel, volunteer in your community, and find meaningful employment. Not to mention, what about trying to lease an apartment or qualify for a mortgage? Or that you can even have issues when trying to apply with certain post-secondary courses, depending on what you want to do. Back in 2011, to make matters worse, the Harper government decided to change the way our Canadian pardon system worked. He actually did a couple things. He changed the pricing from $150 to $631, which is a substantial increase, especially when most of these people are trying to get their lives back and building from nothing. They probably don't have a lot of money to spend on clearing their name so that way they can get a job and whatnot. But make it even worse, the other thing he changed was he changed the name. It's not a pardon anymore. It's called a record suspension. It's not even called a pardon, which is one of the most frustrating things for me because I'm going back to the dictionary. A pardon liberates those from past mistakes for which they have already paid for. It's a liberation. You've paid your dues, you're forgiven, right the wrong and move on. The majority of the people that are pardoned don't repeat. They do not get another conviction, especially not for cannabis, because cannabis is not illegal in the same way it was back then. And the word suspension is the act of stopping, removing, or making something ineffective for a time. It's not a removal. It's not a forgiveness.
Yeah,
you're not forgiven.
You're not forgiven.
You're not forgiven. It should be a permanent record suspension. Like why don't we just call it an expulsion? Like a record expulsion. Or an expungement?
Jeez, they're sponge-worthy.
Good one. No soup for you. Okay. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit. We're going to go to March 2021. We're going to go to this year. The Liberals got into power back in, I guess I got to go back, 2019. The law changed and the Liberals tried to make it a little bit easier for people to get these things suspended, record suspensions, not pardons, whatever. But since 2019 up to March 2021, there are fewer than 400 people that have been granted record suspensions. So this could be because of incomplete forms, lost records. It costs time and money to try and locate and get these records, especially if they're in multiple cities and different police departments. Some people even get lawyers to help them try and get this stuff figured out. Not to mention we're dealing with a pandemic, short-staffed, lots of paperwork. And the worst part about all of that is a lot of times people are finding when they get their records, it says that they have been charged with possession of a controlled substance, a basic Schedule II conviction. So it doesn't actually state that it was cannabis, therefore making it almost impossible to try and get a record suspension for it because there is no designation that it was, in fact, cannabis. I'm extremely frustrated because it doesn't even remove it from the record. It literally, the record suspension, if they approve it, it just says that you weren't criminally charged with it, but it's still on your record. It's still there. Mm-hmm. If you have to get a criminal record check and you hand it in to your employer, it's still there. It still affects you. Like, I don't know. I feel like this is where I'm coming to a close on this. I feel like as advocates, we cannot stop pushing for better policies. Yes, it was great that the Liberal government made a change in 2019. However, it's been 2 years, almost 3 years. I think it's time that we reassess this and make proper changes to the policies that have, that are in place now to make it easier for people to, expunge, that's the word, expunge their past cannabis charges. Mm-hmm. And please, for the love of whoever your God may be, just change it back to pardon. I don't understand what was wrong with that in the first place. Everybody understands pardon. When you get a pardon for something, pardon me. So that's what gets me going. I am extremely frustrated because as I wrote right here, I don't know if you can see this. Can you read that to me?
Nobody should have a criminal record for a plant.
That's correct. It's a plant.
So what gets you going it's both things then, right? In this particular
there was
one,
a lot there.
I know there's a lot there. Obviously, what you just said there. Nobody should be charged or put in jail or thing for a plant, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. But you're even upset at the just the changing of the term pardon, right? Mm-hmm. Which I think is. I think is interesting because what happens a lot in the world that we live in when you start dealing with the governments and the legalities of things, they try to pretend, maybe they don't try to pretend, but they assume that people it's like words are words, is like whatever. But there's so much power, and I see it in comedy. A joke could fall flat. And if you literally just changed this word or put mm-hmm. it in a different place, the joke could do very well. And I think what you're picking up here, or at least what I'm picking up from what you're saying, is that it was a word that didn't need to be changed. Mm-hmm. So immediately a red light goes on going, well, why did you change it? Mm-hmm. And clearly there's some sort of small print understanding in that change to benefit somebody, and it's not the cannabis users.
Well, there was a doctor that actually did a study with water. I don't know if you've heard of this study. Dr. I want to say like Yamamoto or something like that. But he did a study where he put water in different jars and he spoke I can't remember if he spoke negatively to some jars and positive to the other ones.
Yeah, and the water at different ripples.
And when you put it under a microscope, the ones that you spoke positivity to were perfectly symmetrical and beautiful, like a snowflake would mm-hmm. be. But the ones that you said like death or like things like that too, it was extremely like ugly under the microscope, which it goes to, like, if you think about it, our bodies are made up of a large portion of water. So if we're being told you're not pardoned, this isn't being removed, this is a record suspension, like even when you're suspended from school, it's not forever. We know this, like mm-hmm. So we know like this is not forever. Oh my god, my leg is legitimately numb. These boots are heavy.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, cool.
They're not made for walking.
Well, I think I really do think there's a few things in there, and
there's a lot that gets me going in that. It gets me frustrated that even though the Liberal government changed a bunch of things to make it easier for people to get this, like they tried to waive some of that fee for cannabis like convictions. However, if you have any other conviction that's not cannabis related, then you're like you don't qualify for that. So it's just like there's even Kareem Assad. She has said like it's frustrating. It almost feels like this is the government knowing that this is just another way to make more money.
Right.
You know, like we've tried it. It doesn't work. There's only been 400. They expected it to be into the thousands by now. Let's figure out why this isn't meeting that expectation. So,
Right.
yeah, that's the we can do better. We need to figure out how we can do better.
I was waiting for that line.
That we can do better. That's how you know it's over.
I will always say this each and every time. At one point, as this podcast was heading into episodes 1 through 4, and she was like, I don't think I can come up with enough things to maintain a segment called What Gets Me Going.
No.
And
I also didn't think I'd be able to maintain this wig the whole show either, but
and it stayed on. But this is what I love about you and the podcast and what we're doing here is we both love what we do individually and we love what we do together. And here's the things. I love performing. I love entertaining. I love doing weird and wacky things. I hope that's evident to people. You clearly love cannabis. You love teaching about cannabis.
I also love performing too.
You do, but that's where the commonality is. But what I'm saying is that you have a very strong love for cannabis, the handling of it properly.
I want to help people.
Yeah.
I want people to experience cannabis in the same way I've been able to, which is in a positive way. I don't want people to have a negative experience.
Right.
So if I can teach you how to have a positive experience, then
and
that makes me happy.
No, exactly. But it comes clear. That's what I'm saying is that you're passionate about it. And that's why I like the What Gets Me Going segments is because
you're going to make me cry.
It's not coming from a place of let's look up some information. It's coming from a place of this means a lot to me. So for those that you who are listening and have listened to this show, I believe this is our 25th episode.
We're a quarter century.
And most podcasters don't get through episode 20 is what we've heard. So we know we're on our way here. And the reason why we've gotten as far as we have is because we have a production team and a team behind us that believes in us. Yeah. But we also individually are personally committed to and love the aspects that we bring. You with the teaching, me with the entertainment, and then we have that commonality of the fact that we love creating together. Mm-hmm. So thank you for those who have been watching and for those who have been listening. We would encourage you, if you want to see like Ginger Snaps outfits, then you need to go to YouTube instead of on podcast form. But many more to come. But thank you for sharing that What Gets Me Going. And we are looking forward to heading off and getting some rest.
Yes. Boyle.
Timmy Boyle. We're going to go do that. And so from Alyssa Milano, which is one of the best birthday gifts I've ever received, let's end this show off.
All right. Are we ending it as spies again, or are we going to... Okay. When you commit, you commit.
I'm Boyle. Timmy Boyle.
Ginger Snaps. Stay lifted.
And keep on laughing. Shaken, not stirred.
Cheers, mate.